Guys, I have not been completely honest with you about some things that have been going on in my life, and this video is to set that straight. So last year, 2021, I was full-time sailing with an ex-partner for 6 months, and suddenly out of the blue, I became the caretaker in a medical emergency for 8 months, and it was brutal, as you can imagine. But the combination of the medical emergency, like the reminder that life is so short, as well as having kind of been on my own adventure, kind of shocked my system. It showed me what I really wanted in life. And before that, I had been working in a questionable role where things were allowed to happen that I think shouldn't have happened. And the idea of going back to work and having to like kind of deal with like not having the decision-making power to stop bad things, just to be honest, it just seemed like the worst thing ever. Like, I just really did not want to do that.
Surely you can identify with this, right? I mean, what's the point? Once you see the commitment to the purpose flail, you lose respect and focus for the mission. And if you're part of my community, then I'm guessing the money alone is not enough of a motivator for you either, right?
So I started my own business. As you guys know, I am doing this YouTube thing. I've got a course, I've got a podcast. I won't go into why I chose these particular things because that's like a whole nother story that's not relevant. But basically, I was interviewing a bunch of other bigger creators for my podcast, and I started to pick up on two really big lessons that I needed to bring to my own YouTube channel.
I'll go into those lessons shortly. But first, at this point, I was feeling hopeful and excited. Not only had I received a much-needed wake-up call, but I also had taken a relationship course that finally got me believing in and feeling good about myself for the first time in over a decade. I was visualizing, doing affirmations, taking care of my body, and managing to put out a shit ton of content at the same time. I was on fire.
We're just going to take a moment and admire the view ahead of me. Come on, people. You like that, don't you? Freaking beautiful, right? I love New Zealand. Sometimes I even love Auckland. Anyways, the first thing I learned was that I needed to have fun with the videos, because when you don't have fun, people can feel that. And most people come to YouTube to feel happier, not sadder. And while sad videos have a place, if you're trying to do something fun, but you're not enjoying it, then that's a little confusing for the viewer because, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Basically, I was repeating the same pattern in my own business that I was when I was in a corporate office. I was seeking validation rather than focusing on what made me happy and the messages I wanted to say.
Lesson number 2 was that I needed to have an overarching goal that connected each of my videos. The goal could change, but from like within a series, like say 10 videos, there needed to be a goal, something that I was working towards. And when I had my previous channel, Sailing, I was becoming a full-time sailor. That's what connected all the videos, is that I was learning how to become a full-time sailor. But my new channel, The Audacious Path, there was no real connection. Like, I was kind of just going on random one-off adventures, and there was nothing that really connected each video.
This is kind of like being told you need to find your purpose in life. Like, yeah, I know I need to get one of those, but how? Where do you get one? Do they sell them at Walmart?
When I started thinking about this overarching goal idea, my brain kind of hit a wall for a few reasons. The first one is that many of you guys know I am up for surgery soon. I have been on a wait list with the New Zealand government, public healthcare, for over a year now to get my face kind of reconstructed. I have a malocclusion. Hold on, let me show you. People, stop. See? My teeth don't connect. And it basically means that I'm wearing down my teeth too fast, as well as it causes my whole head and jaw to hurt and get really tense. And I need to get my jaw basically replaced or replaced. What's the word? I don't know. Put in a different place, basically. Kind of stops me from doing anything that takes me out of Auckland. So that's a really big one.
I'll be the first to admit, if you didn't already know about this from previous videos,
I've got to start thinking about this surgery, and
you might be like, why the hell are you worrying about a channel goal when you have a big surgery coming up? In fact, why haven't you gone back to work to build yourself a cushion while you're recovering? Some of you will get this, some of you won't, and I'm okay with that. To think of my surgery feels like thinking about a meteor about to hit Earth and you know all of humanity is about to end. To think about what I need to do to make this channel successful feels like the first time you hold your child in your arms and you have no idea what you're doing, but you're so in love and you know you'll do anything to figure it out.
Who's a good girl? Is Pivo a good girl? Yes. Should we keep walking? Pivo, come on! Going up some stairs. Whew. It's always so uphill in New Zealand. Anyway, so probably one of the struggles that I have the most control over, but that's actually really big, is finances. Like I said, I'm spending my savings to get my business going. And that means that I can't buy a boat like I kind of want to. I can't really buy much big equipment or an adventure machine or anything like that. So it severely limits me.
I'm not alien to the notion that money, or lack thereof, stops all of us from doing what we want to do from time to time. I've even at some points in my childhood simply wanted for more food. But I've also been in the position where I had plenty and I still stopped myself from my dreams. And I've had little and I've achieved my dreams. So this is me acknowledging the limits in front of me and working out what that realistically looks like for setting a long-term goal.
There are a few other things that are getting in the way of me setting a long-term goal. One is that I become a citizen, or apply to become a citizen next month. Whee! But part of my application is that I commit to staying in New Zealand, living in New Zealand. So whatever I wanted to do long-term would have to be within the New Zealand boundaries. I also, of course, like trying to get this business running. So whatever I did needed to be near internet so that I could keep my business running. And then the third thing, I forgot. Hold on. Oh yes, how could I forget this last one? So I was running, half marathon or quarter marathon, whatever you want to call it, a couple of years ago when my arch on my left foot collapsed completely. And I did actually go to a podiatrist at the time and try to have it dealt with, but then just, shit hit the fan and I just completely stopped taking care of it. So what that means is that my left foot, and sometimes even my right foot, is constantly in pain. So I am possibly limited on how far I can actually walk.
I think health issues stopping you from the life you want to live is one of the worst experiences you can have, especially if you don't look sick. You see, when I was a caregiver, I abruptly went from being a full-time adventurer to one where my physical presence in a sanitary environment at 2 p.m. every day was required to keep someone alive. Suddenly, I was acutely aware when channels said something like, "Don't make excuses. Only you are stopping you," or something along the lines of, "If you're not out adventuring, you're the problem." But the reality is, while that is true for some, yes, there's also a whole heap of people for whom these messages are missing the mark.
So Pivo will almost always try to do the most naughty thing while mom's not paying attention. She'll go as far as she can. All right, Pivo's being a naughty butt. Time to get moving. I love my naughty butt. So I was struggling. I wasn't sure where to go with my channel. I didn't know what to do or what to focus on or what my goal was gonna be. Then I went to the South Island, which are my next couple of videos, but yeah, the South Island trip was amazing. It was exactly what I needed. And I won't ruin it for you by telling you all the cool things that I did. You know how like when you're in the midst of stress, like it's just so hard to like get a zoomed out view. And I was just like working my butt off to get a bunch of videos ready, and I was getting so tied into the details that I wasn't able to like zoom out and see like, okay, what does this all look like and how am I actually feeling? Like I needed days, weeks, let's be honest, weeks to process everything. Religious about skincare because I have had a lot of exposure to skin cancer, and New Zealand's got the highest rate of skin cancer in the entire world, I believe. So yeah, I always wear a shirt even though it's freaking hot. You always want to play more. Do you want snuggles? Come here. There she is. She's snuggling.
Around the same time I was going through all of this, I started reading Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, and a few things started to click in place.
My first goal, of course, is to create a business that is streamlined and like has systems that don't necessarily need me to be present and engaged at all times.
I was being unrealistic, and if I didn't snap out of it, I was gonna run out of money, burn out, and end up being stuck in the office job I dreaded so much. I needed to get a part-time job.
Of course, another goal is to get through the surgery. I don't know, like, I mean, it's big, of course, but it just feels like it's hard to think about moving towards something until I get through that, because that's just, yeah, so big.
I needed to reframe the overarching adventurous goal I thought I so desperately needed into getting through the very big, scary, and real adventure I'm about ready to go on, and how I'm going to keep adventure alive while stuck in limbo.
And finally, probably the kind of actual goal that I'm working towards is I want to move out of Auckland. Does anyone else like feel like just crowded and claustrophobic in cities? I've lived in cities for like, what, 10 years now, and I grew up in a small town, and it's just like, nobody talks to each other on the street. They're kind of unfriendly. Like, you don't go to your grocery store and people know each other, and there's not really like local community festivals where you run into people. There's just like, I don't know, it just feels crowded and a bit claustrophobic.
I found myself circling back to that first lesson that all the big YouTubers have been saying to me over and over. You have to have fun doing it.
That's kind of what I haven't been honest with you guys about.
So I needed to grow my business. So I needed to get a job. I needed to apply for citizenship, get through surgery, and take care of my collapsed arch. I needed to do all of this before I could be out adventuring again.
I have all sorts of adventures in my head that I would love to do.
But that didn't mean I couldn't have fun in the process. I just needed to figure out what that looked like and make a realistic plan.
But right now, I guess the adventure that I'm on is staying put and getting through some big things. And just living day-to-day life and trying to keep it adventurous.
For me, that's meant letting go of a set timeline, embracing uncertainty, and incorporating as much joy into my day-to-day as I possibly can.
Anyway, the next thing you guys are gonna see is the South Island trip, which kind of like led me to where I am now. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, it was a freaking awesome trip. It was really hard to come home. It was awesome. I watched so much. I saw so many cool things. The South Island of New Zealand is as cool as everyone says it is. And thank you guys so much for watching. An extra special thank you to my patrons. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate that you guys are really truly the ones keeping this going. And I appreciate anyone else who's willing to consider coming on and joining the support team. And I hope to meet you. I truly do. Take care. See you guys soon.